I got a question, and I'm going to try to help some of you blacks who constantly talk about race every damn day on the social media platform. I'm going to try to help some of you guilty whites who's always thinking you're helping the blacks by constantly bringing up something that happened in the 1600s and the 1700s, the 1800s. I got a question then. Are you telling me that the reason that blacks are killing one another, the reason that blacks are impregnating their women and running off absentee fathers, are you telling me all of this is because they were once enslaved? You're not the only people that were enslaved. Now I got another question for you. If you are 50 some years old and just say your mama or daddy did something to you when you were still living at home in your teenage years, it's 40 years later, some of you 50 years later, and you still was whining about how your mama had a favorite pick, don't you think somebody would tell you just to get the hell over it? Most of these people who's talking has never done any research to see if any of their ancestors was ever enslaved. Because you do know there were blacks who owned slaves. There has been other races of people been enslaved 2-3 times. If you keep bringing up something, that's how they keep you enslaved. You're enslaved and don't even know it. Many of you thought the civil rights movement was so good for blacks. If you pay any attention to anything, seems to me it hurt you more than it helped you. Lyndon Baines Johnson was a racist piece of trash. He signed it. Lyndon Baines Johnson used the nigger word so regularly it's not even funny. But these Negroes are not upset with Lyndon Baines Johnson. They're not upset with the other, quote, Africans who sold them into slavery. So my question is, how is it you helping the blacks today by constantly talking about something that happened in 1700, 1800, and 1800 every effing day on the internet? Excuse my language right here, but that shit gets old to me. It just does. The blacks are having problems now. It ain't got a damn thing to do with no slavery. Not a damn thing to do. And this is what gets me. I got some of these, like the church crowd black folks who go to church every Sunday. They're up in church holding up their hands. God Almighty, El Shaddai, I'm more than a conqueror. I can do all things through Christ who's strengthening me. And then they'll tell you about some white folks that went to Africa and enslaved maybe their great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaddy. And they say that's the reason they're suffering right now. But your God is great. Your God created everything out of nothing. But something happened long before you, your mama, and your grandparents was born is affecting you now. That is slavery. Why don't you free yourself? Can't nobody who did something in 1700 and 1800 and 1900 enslave me. You're enslaved and don't even know it. All of these rich, quote, black folk right now, the Oprah Winfreys, the Jay-Z's, the Beyonce, look at the hip-hop culture. It's self-destructing itself. Every time you look at the news, another little black rapper is getting shot by his ops. And then they go on these shows with, and they dry snitch on themselves, trying to make themselves look hard, telling how many people they bust a cap in. Then they get arrested and people start screaming, free such and such. He snitched on himself. See, to me that's self-hate. But you hear them playing the guilty whites in the Back to Africa crowd every freaking day talking about race. See, it's impossible. If you attach yourself to a plow and strap yourself in, you can't do nothing else because you're strapped to the plow. Unless you loose yourself of the plow. See, most of you who think you know a little history, just say all whites enslave you. Is any whites living today that's enslaved you? So a white man back in the 1700, 1800, the Jim Crow laws enslaved, because one of my granddad was born in the 1800s. He never was enslaved either. And he never talked about slavery as much as the, quote, educated Negroes talk about slavery. Some of the worst things can happen to some of these people is they get a little education. Speaking of, since you guys want to blame somebody, the civil rights movement with Dr. King and all those from the civil rights movement, they were nothing but a bunch of deviants, including Dr. King. I did a video one night. Some of the Negroes got upset, and we went through some of the details. I could have went in further on that. Dr. King was cheating on Coretta almost every damn day. One night when he was getting his freak on, he says he's effing for God. He said tonight he's not even a Negro. But they'll get upset. We want to celebrate Dr. King. Let's name a street after Dr. King. It's one of the most violent streets in every damn city you go to. MLK. All that stands for is Murder Link for the so-called kings. Because they'll kill each other in a minute. But then they'll talk about how is this insulting if somebody do something on MLK Day. Stop killing each other, damn fools. How about stop impregnating your own damn women and running off from them and take care of your own damn children? No, your problem is not slavery or the history of slavery. Your problem is that you're still enslaved now. But you're too stupid to know it. Because if somebody keeps talking about something that happened 200 and 300 years ago, you still enslaved by that? I've never been a slave. Don't even know if my ancestor was a slave. But I know this, I will not let you enslave me with a bunch of talk about history. See, you got to learn how to turn the page, get over it. Tell me all of the money that the rich folks is making right now, why haven't they stopped the violence? The minute a cop kills somebody, everybody's protesting in the streets, oh my Lord, Black Lives Matter. The number one killer of black people is black people, and I don't see no protest when the little black babies die. When they're killing innocent people who are good working citizens, they only protest when there's a criminal. And they'll get real upset too about it, because they gotta let you know how they are black power. Do you know that Angela Davis' ancestors came over on the Mayflower? She was Miss Black Power too. Her ancestors was owning slaves. So you don't even know who owns a you. The ones who screaming the loudest, ancestors probably own slaves. You never even been slave, but you act like a damn slave every damn day. No one, see, when I say my God has all power, he's El Shaddai. When I say I'm more than a conqueror, when I say I can do all things through Christ who strengthens. You think the Lyndon Baines Johnson really wanted you Negroes free? I mean, they literally tell you part of the agreement is they kick the father out the home. And you understand what the real problem is. All you gotta do is look in the damn mirror. Something that happened 200-300 years ago is not the reason that a bunch of the prison cells are full right now. Oh yes, you can say, well, the blacks don't own any airplanes. The blacks don't own any boats to bring it over here. Somebody made you take the drugs. The white man from 300 years ago made you sell and take the drugs. A damn break. But here's a kicker. Martin Luther King Jr.'s brother, who was a preacher, was a deviant too. Dr. King was a deviant. Ralph Abernathy was a deviant. They all was deviants. And they were siding with communists. Now, you know communists don't believe in God just because you got Reverend in front of your name. It's kind of like Reverend Al Sharpton, Reverend Jesse Jackson. Since those Negroes has got involved, you've been going backwards. And then you want me to sit around and you selectively go get history and tell you about some white folks did something 200-300 years ago. How is that affecting you today? Why are you all killing each other today? See, nobody wants to talk about this because they want to use excuses. If something happened when you was a child, you still gonna use that same damn excuse? But you're using excuses for something that happened before your grandmama was born, your granddaddy was born. Give me a freaking break. All these folks who constantly talk about race every day, what their intention is to try to divide you. I know good white people. I know good Latinos. I know good Indians. I know good Asians. But I know some from each race that's complete trash too. Problem is not your skin color. Problem is your stinking thinking. And you allow these people who get rich, who get their aphorisms up and everything else, by constantly talking about this crap every damn day. But they don't say a mumbling word when they're killing each other in their own damn neighborhoods. When the father has 4 baby mamas, he ain't taking care of none of them. But he's a big man. The civil rights movement didn't help you. It hurt you if you ask me. Most of them was teaming up with Planned Parenthood who want to assassinate little babies in the womb. And these dumbasses don't realize that you got the blacks who are, a bunch of them in prison. You got the blacks who are turning to homosexuality now, killing one another, and then aborting their babies. Who's forcing you to do that? You are. Look in the damn mirror and stop this race baiting. Something that happened 200-300 years ago, even 100 years ago, is not the reason that the black community is in the shape it is. It's poor leadership. My people perish for the lack of vision. Their vision is the fulfill me now. I can show you little ghetto kids, don't even know what a pronoun is, can't tell you his, don't know how to do multiplications, but he can name every name brand, tennis shoe, purse, or whatever. We're teaching them the wrong damn thing. Why don't you teach them something besides telling them all this name brand stuff? That's a such and such, he got this on. But they ain't got nothing there. Empty wagon makes the most noise, is what my 6th grade teacher used to tell me. An empty wagon makes the most noise. And there's a bunch of empty wagons around. They always want to play victim. The most violent crowd wants to play victim. It ain't about 3 to 4% of the blacks who's committing most of the crimes. But the other dumbasses want to side with them because you got a couple of them come on YouTube and Twitter and tell you that it's the white man's fault from 200 years ago. And it sounds real good. This is history. You mean to tell me somebody from 200 years ago makes you go kill one another? You're a damn fool. Worse than a bunch of unraised monkeys, if you ask me, going around just killing each other and then say, it's the white man's fault. Do like Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror. Michael Jackson once trained Bubbles, a monkey. Seems to me, instead of getting yourself so upset, beating your chest, acting like a bunch of apes, talking about how hardcore you are, just stop killing one another. Take care of your own damn children. How about that?